This is the trailer.
Here we have a quiet little
To
motel,
Psycho,
when in fact
the
it has now
Hitchcock
become
film,
known as
released
the
this
scene
date,
of a crime.
1960.
Oh, we have 12 vacancies.
Janet Leigh, Anthony Perkins, and the rest, as they say,
hiding from the world.
Released this day, 1960. I want to throw that on. We're bringing in film study professor Joe Fortunato with us right now. And of course, he joins us Fridays as he takes us to film school, and he'll be on with us tomorrow morning in the 8 o'clock hour. We're going to look at The Great Escape, by the way, coming up tomorrow. But Joe certainly is entrenched in this story, and that is the writers and the actors strike right now that is ongoing. And everything I'm reading right now, there's still some entertainment product, but soon we're going to hit the end of the line with that. And they're saying by the holiday season, and then what? But, Joe, let's go right to the strikes themselves. Has there been any progress made with the writers of the actors' strikes here?
Well, the short answer to that is no. But before I get into the longer answer, let's just, since you played Psycho, we'll get a quick shameless plug that we're doing Fortunato Film School live at Jilly's Music Room in October. And you can go to Jilly's website and get your tickets now. So you'll definitely want to be there for when Ray and I do Psycho. We'll walk you through the film. It'll be a real fun time. So make sure you go check that out and get your tickets now. But to answer your question, there really is no resolution in sight here. Talks have stalled. It's now been over 100 days since the WGA first went on strike on May 2nd. That's already surpassed the 2007 strike. It's heading towards the longest strike on record, which was 1988. That lasted 154 days. It's starting to get a little ugly out there. I wish I had better news, but I really don't. It's affecting the California economy. People aren't coming to work. They're not spending money at the local grocery store. All of the ancillary secondary industries, food services and stuff are suffering because of all this loss of income. Those effects are being felt far beyond Hollywood in other big production cities like Toronto or London. Even though London or England has a separate union that isn't affected by this, there's still a lot of WGA and SAG union films that were being shot. They've been closed down. So, I know a lot of people were looking forward to Deadpool 3. That's been paused until further notice. Wicked is another high thing on the list of movies that people are looking forward to. That's been postponed. It's starting to really affect things.
Joe, let me ask you this, and you can simplify it, I'm sure. A lot of people on the perimeter of this story here that the main reason of this strike is AI technology, but they might not understand where the writers / and the actors are coming from in regards to their needs in regards to AI technology. Can you simplify that for us?
Well, yeah, I can. But first of all, AI is just one component of what the issue is, and that's the sexy news item one, so that gets probably most of the press, but it's just one item. And if we were to have sort of a Venn diagram of the actors and the writers' needs, it overlaps quite a bit, but there are a little some differences. One of the major things is for both unions is the residual payments in the streaming era. They haven't been updated. Writers and actors are being paid minimally or even not at all in some cases for streaming content. And that's the biggest one, frankly. For the writers, they want minimum staffing in writers' room because with smaller show orders and shorter show orders, they're not getting, sort of a full-time job, as it were. It's more of a part-time gig. Now, the AI issue is significant for both, but for different reasons. The actors are concerned that, and currently this is what the studios are proposing, that the studios can just use their likeness in perpetuity without consent or compensation, and clearly that's not going to fly with the actors. When we're talking about CGI and things like that with AI. For the actors, it's more of a visual thing. For the writers, obviously, it's more of a written thing. And they're concerned about having AI develop outlines for films, not necessarily writing entire scripts. I mean, I think that's what some of the public thinks, although, that's not off the table. But it's more about outlines and story ideas and things like that that writers do get paid for, and they're worried about AI replacing them in that.
Joe Fortunato is with us, film study professor, looking at the strike with the writers and actors. And in college athletics, Joe, I know you're well in tune with this, the name, image, and likeness payments, NIL contracts, as we call that. When you talk about the side of this story, when we talk about AI, is that in regards to the actors wanting to make sure down the road that their image, their voices, their likeness, that they're going to get compensated for? Is that part of the equation?
Yeah, in simple terms, yes. I mean, it's not, apples to apples with the college athletes, but there's definitely, similarities in that. And like I said, the technology is there that actors, their images and stuff could be used without their consent. Once they record it or get it on, I guess not get it on film, get it on digital, whatever means they do to record those CGI things. And that's actually not an entirely new concern. AI is a newer concern, but, even 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was concern about, deceased actors, movie stars like, John Wayne or whatever, being used in commercials, obviously without their consent. And so this is just sort of a new technology version of that concern.
Okay, so Joe, take us to the industry itself. I was reading the other day that they do have some movies they're editing, that they'll get some released, but they're basically saying what I read is that the barrel's going to get probably empty. They were saying around December, the holidays and such. So my first part of the question is that what you're hearing and seeing as well? And then number two, the obvious question is, do you foresee this thing going into 2024?
Well, let me take the second one first. I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't, obviously answer that without guesswork. But at the moment, there doesn't seem to be, any mutual agreement on the horizon. So I think this is still going to go a while. Whether it goes throughout the rest of the year or not, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. To the part of your first question, if that dry spell that we see coming up is going to start hurting both parties. Because right now, it's mostly the actors and writers that are being hurt. And that's kind of, one of the kind of concerns, at least from the actors and writers. It's kind of starting to become almost a class warfare kind of a thing. We're so divided as a country in politics and stuff, and that's even seeping into this, where it's like the studios are the big, bad, greedy people, and the actors and writers. And I'm not talking about the stars. I'm talking about the run-of-the-mill writers and actors who just barely scrape by a living are having a hard time. But in terms of what's in the pipeline, so the new seasons of your favorite TV shows, those aren't going to be coming back anytime soon. So there's delays on that. Anything that's already been in the pipeline, a lot of the streaming content has already been completed, and they're going to be released over the next few months. So there's going to be some stuff there. But by the time we start hitting the holidays, as you mentioned, anything, those are going to be used up. New upcoming movie projects are going to be on pause, like we already talked about with Deadpool or Wicked. So those might not show up for a while. Even just publicity and stuff. We already have the talk shows closed down. But the actors can't do publicity for their existing work. The Emmys have been postponed. The Emmys are usually we're going to be in September. I always look forward to that, and now they're postponed indefinitely. They're thinking maybe January, but no hard date. Has been set. Shows like Abbott Elementary and Andor and Cobra Kai and Family Guy, Hacks. There's The Last of Us. There's so many things that we were looking forward to, and they're not going to come anytime soon.
All right, Joe, good stuff this morning. Thank you for the update. Looking forward to tomorrow. We'll look at The Great Escape in our film study. Always appreciate the time, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You got it. Film study professor Joe